Hey everybody, welcome to Pack One Pick One number 211 on the Mana Leak. I'm John, as always, with a new playmat. There's no pen mark, there's no coffee stain over there. It's beautiful and vibrant, and from Inked Gaming, you can use a promo code ManaLeak10 to get 10% off your own playmat if you want. But we're here to crack open a pack and talk about what we would take Pack One Pick One if this was a draft. Now, each week, the patrons over at patreon.com/ManaLeak get a chance to get all the cards out of this pack, or none of the cards, some of the cards, whatever they happen to want. And this week, it is Haba Uzada's turn. We're going to crack this open. We're going to talk about what we would take Pack One Pick One if this was a draft. Up first, we've got Crystal Slipper. Crystal Slipper is 1 in a red for an artifact equipment, equip cost of 1 single mana, and for that 1 single mana, you get +1/+0 and haste. It's not very good. It doesn't do what I want to do. It takes up a card of my deck. I'm not happy playing this in basically any deck. Up next is Bartered Cow. Bartered Cow is 3 and a white for a creature Ox. It's a 3/3, and whenever it dies, you get to make a food. It's not very good either. It's just not good. It's 4 mana for a 3/3. Getting a food when it dies is not really what the white deck wants to do, what any white decks want to do. So Bartered Cow is one of the least played cards that I've ever seen. Up next is Moonlit Scavengers. Moonlit Scavengers is 5 and a blue for a 4/5 creature Merfolk Rogue. Whenever it ETBs, if you control an artifact or enchantment, you get to bounce target permanent opponent controls. Keep in mind all those various things. You can bounce enchantments, you can bounce artifacts, but you can't bounce your own. And unfortunately, it always seems to come up when you really desperately want to bounce your own. This is totally fine in a lot of the blue decks. You're going to be playing Witching Wells, you're going to be playing Golden Eggs in a lot of blue-based decks. If you're in blue-white, you're going to have even more options to be able to have this turned on. I don't like to load up on these. The first one I'm usually happy with. The second one I'm considerably less happy, though sometimes I still play it. However, I'd never be happy if this was the first pick. Up next is Barge In. Barge In is a single red mana for an instant at common. Attacking creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Each attacking non-human creature gains trample until end of turn. This card's totally fine if you're in a very heavy aggro deck. It's going to get through some extra damage. That trample could be very applicable if you are like a red-green non-human deck, but it is just a combat trick, so we're never going to consider first picking it. Up next is Memory Theft. Memory Theft is 2 and a black for a sorcery. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card from it. That player discards that card. You may put a card that has an adventure that player owns from exile into that player's graveyard. I've never actually read this card out word for word because it's not good. It's not good. This is just not one of those cards that you ever play. You never play, you really should rarely play Duresses and Thoughtseizes and etc. in limited. They don't do anything. They feel like they do something that time that, you looked at their hand and got their bomb. And you forget all the times that you looked at their hand, it was all lands. Or you looked at their hand and you got to make them discard a Barge In or something. This card just is not very good. Don't put it in your main deck. If there's a bomb that you cannot handle, you can think about siding this in, but it means that you have no real other options and things haven't been going well. Not a first pick. Up next is Fell the Pheasant. Fell the Pheasant is 1 and a green for an instant at common. Fell the Pheasant deals 5 damage to target creature with flying. Create a food token. Sideboard only. If you are up against a flyer deck, you can happily put this in and it's going to do a whole lot of work. And if you don't see any flyers, it should sit in your sideboard. Do not main deck this card, and don't first pick it either. Well, here's a legitimate first pick, Bacon to a Pie. Bacon to a Pie is 2 black for an instant, destroy target creature, create a food token. It's the best black removal in the set. It's super fantastico. You are going to be very happy first picking this out of a large number of packs. Perhaps this pack will keep it in frame. Up next is Signpost Scarecrow. Signpost Scarecrow is 4 generic mana for a artifact creature Scarecrow. It's got vigilance. You can pay 2 to add 1 mana of any color. Now that sounds ludicrous, paying 2 to add 1 mana, and it is. It's bad. You don't want to do this. But it actually is kind of the same as playing an Unknown Shores. An Unknown Shores, you have to pay 1 mana to make a color, but you have to tap that Unknown Shores, which is also kind of costing you a mana because you can't tap the Unknown Shores for colorless anymore. Replace Unknown Shores with Rupture Spire or whatever. This is kind of the same, except it's on a creature, but it's just not the way you want to fix your mana. Get yourself some Golden Eggs, get yourself a Spinning Wheel. If you're in green, get yourself a Rosethorn Acolyte. Don't really play this card. It's just not very good, and certainly not a first pick. Up next is Unexplained Vision. Unexplained Vision is 4 and a blue for a sorcery, draw 3 cards, and then if you use 3 blue mana to cast this, you can scry 3 afterwards. Totally fine. I've played this in a number of blue decks, both blue control decks, blue mill decks, blue-red draw decks, and it's always been fine. It's never been amazing. It's never going to be a first pick. It's not a high pick, and I don't want to play multiples of these, but the first one, if you're kind of going that way, is fine. Our final common, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Our final common, no foils in this packet. Knight of the Keep. Knight of the Keep is 2 and a white for a creature, human knight. It's a 3/2 with flavor text. That's it. If you are white, if you are aggressive, if you have knight strategies, this is a card that can go in your deck and you'll feel okay. That's it. It's never a first pick. It's never a high include. You should be cutting it whenever you can, but if you need it, there you go. Our first uncommon is very pretty. Embereth Shieldbreaker. Embereth Shieldbreaker is 1 and a red for a creature, human knight. It's a 2/1, so it's a piker. It's a 2/1 for 2, but you can pay 1 red mana to Battle Display, which is a sorcery adventure, destroy target artifact. This card's great because it's 2 cards on 1. It's great because it's a sideboard card that you can main deck. Because if you have no targets, you still have a 2/1 for 2, and that's not good, but it's fine. But all those games where you do get to blow up their golden egg, blow up their spinning wheel, maybe kill an actual factual creature with it, and then play a 2/1. Well, that feels pretty good. So I'm pretty happy with an Embereth Shieldbreaker or 2, or maybe even 3 in every single red deck that I'm playing. It just does what you want to do. I'd even consider first picking it in some packs. Not against Bake Into a Pie, though. Our second uncommon is Mad Ratter. Mad Ratter is 3 and a red for a creature, goblin. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, create 2 1/1 black rat creature tokens. This card can go off. I have gone off with this. I had a Folio of Fancies, and I had a merchant of whatever he is a merchant of. So I was able to kind of draw 2 cards on demand and make rats and just spread out my rats. And it was pretty fun. I'd consider first picking this if I was looking to be a little bit fun with my draft. And it's not janky. It's not, super weird to pick this. It's just the blue-red deck can take a lot of work to come together because you need Mad Ratters, you need Fairy Vandals, you need Ironcrag Pyromancers. All of those are at uncommon and rare. The common payoffs for this deck aren't great. The Mantle, the Griffin, the Wolverine, they're not great. They're very filler. So taking this is risky, and it's certainly not something I'd ever consider against Bake Into a Pie. But if you can get there and go off, this card's really good. Our final uncommon is another way, one I forgot, of how to get into the blue-red draw 2 deck. Improbable Alliance. Improbable Alliance is blue-red for an enchantment. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, create a 1/1 blue fairy creature token with flying. Pay 4 blue-red, draw a card, then discard a card. You get to loot. So what's better, 2 1/1s on the ground or 1/1 flyer? Well, it's 1/1 flyer, let me tell you what. Plus the ability to activate itself on the same card is super good. Improbable Alliance is just very good. It's another card that I'd consider first picking. I'd definitely first pick it over the Mad Ratter. I would never first pick it over Bake Into a Pie. And let me tell you, there's going to be some people fighting in this pod for that blue-red draw 2 deck. So we might just let them do that and still take what I think is clearly the best card in the pack so far, Bake Into a Pie. Our rare doesn't really... maybe competes. Midnight Clock. Midnight Clock is 2 and a blue for an artifact. Tap to add a blue. People forget that. I forget that. It's a mana rock. You can also pay 2 and a blue and not tap it, so you can do it multiple times. Put an hour counter onto Midnight Clock at the beginning of each upkeep. Each, not yours, each. Put an hour counter on Midnight Clock. When the 12th hour counter is put on Midnight Clock, shuffle your hand and your graveyard into your library, then draw 7 cards, exile Midnight Clock. This card is so good. I've played with it a couple of times now. It gets up to 12 o'clock pretty darn fast, either because it takes 6 turns or because you've just pumped mana into this while holding up things like Bake Into a Pie. And then suddenly out of nowhere, you have yourself an entirely new hand and your opponent is just absolutely sobbing to themselves. Midnight Clock is great. I'm really, really, really happy with it. I would be hard pressed not to first pick it here just because it is so good and it's so much what I enjoy to do. I think the true competitive first pick is Bacon to a Pie. But I can't stop myself. I'm taking Midnight Clock. Also, this would have been a heck of a pool to open and sealed as your first pack. You already have an amazing blue-red draw 2 cards deck right here. But yeah, I'm going to take Midnight Clock there. I don't necessarily think it's the exact correct pick. I think Bacon to a Pie is probably better, but let me know what you think down in the comments below. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, you can find me over on Twitter, Twitch, and Facebook. Remember, Twitch this weekend, November 2nd at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Daylight Time, sorry. I will be going live for a 24-hour charity stream raising money through Extra Life for my local children's hospital in memory of my sister and giving away all kinds of stuff, including packs of Throne of Eldraine, a collector's pack of Throne of Eldraine, a foil Unstable Island, a ton of money that has been donated by Inked Gaming for use on their website, so store credit, MTGO bot credit from a couple of bot chains, all kinds of stuff that I'll be giving away, so make sure you check that out. I'll be going for 24 hours straight, and it's a super fun time raising money for a good cause. You can find me at patreon.com/ShamanaLeak, like Hawa Uzada, who will get their choice of any or all or some of these cards. And you can also go to Inked Gaming and use the promo code ManaLeak10, all one word, 10 is the number, to get 10% off your order. But if you do have any questions, comments, or suggestions, you let me know. Otherwise, I'll see you all next time.